Welcome friends. Today we'll talk about something called as errors. Okay. To start with our topic called errors, first I will make you understand what is meant by accuracy, precision and the probability in measuring the physical quantities. Okay. Probable errors in measuring physical quantities. Understand this. Physics is about measurements. Without measurements we cannot understand laws or anything in physics. Okay, so while doing measurements we require certain instruments. The simplest instrument I will take is this measuring scale. This measuring scale helps us to understand the length, size of an object. Correct? Now when you measure a particular quantity and if it comes exactly equal or near to the particular quantity, near to the physical quantity, like if the length of a particular object is 65 millimeter and you get answer the measuring value as 64 millimeter, so that value you have measured is accurate. It is accurate, okay, because it is very near to the value, actual value. Okay, take some other example. You are having a voltmeter, you are measuring potential difference, and suppose the potential difference which you are measuring is 5.9 volts, okay, which is shown by the voltmeter, and the actual voltage is 6 volts. Now I will say that you have got a accurate reading because it is very near to the actual value. That is what accuracy in measurement. I repeat once again, if the actual value of voltage is 6 volt and you are measuring, you are getting a value 5.9, then I will say it's an accurate value. So that is about accuracy. Now what is meant by precision? What is the meaning of precision? If the actual value and the measured value are exactly equal, we call it as precision. Okay, precise means exactly the same. Okay, so while doing experiments, when we do the measurements, many times we get accurate as well as precise readings, and sometimes we never get accurate nor we get precise readings. Okay, both things happen and there are certain reasons for it. Okay, what are the reasons for the errors? Errors means what? The difference in the actual reading and the measured reading. That difference is called as errors. And what is the actual reason for errors? Firstly, okay, it may be the fault in instrument. It may be fault in what? Instrument. Secondly, it may be the wrong method of taking the readings. The readings which you are taking, you are having what? A wrong method. Third is a personal error. The person who is measuring the physical quantity, he is not trained, and so his errors are called as personal errors. Okay, and lastly there are some errors called as random errors, which in spite of all the precautions we take, they appear and they are not in your hand. Okay, many times because of fluctuation in current. Okay, fluctuation in current, in the voltage, the readings in the experiment change. Or if there is a change in the atmospheric conditions like temperature, pressure, etc., then also, okay, not our pressure but temperature, when temperature changes, then the readings also change. Okay, wind and other factors also lead to changes in the readings. So these lead to what? Errors. So in the beginning, let us understand the two types of errors. Basically we divide the errors into two types: systematic errors and random errors. What? Systematic errors and random errors. Now systematic errors are caused because of a certain reason. There's a reason behind it. Okay, and that we classify into three different types. One, I told, instrumental error. Second, the faulty method in or imperfection in measuring technique. And third is what? Personal error. If the person is not properly trained. So all these three errors comes in what? Systematic error. And the other category I told you is random error. Okay, random errors are caused because of many factors I told you, like it may be a change in temperature, change in the wind conditions, or even the fluctuation in power. All this can lead to what? Random errors, and there are proper ways by which you can reduce the random errors. Okay. Now, to begin with, I will first talk about the systematic errors. Okay. And in systematic errors, the first topic is about error in instrument. Okay. Now many times the calibration, the markings on the particular instrument are not perfect. Okay. Like if the zero point should be starting from over here, okay, but it is starting from here, okay, and you are measuring from this point, then that will lead to a error. Okay, I will give you a good example. Understand this. Suppose a thermometer. You have seen calibrations of thermometer. Like such calibrations are even there in a mercury thermometer, right? And mercury thermometer we measure temperature in Fahrenheit. Suppose the 98, which is a normal temperature, 98 is supposed to be over here, and it is marked over here. It is marked slightly ahead. Okay. Suppose it was to be marked here. So it is marked slightly ahead by mistake. Then always you will get an error of 1 degree. 1 degree Fahrenheit. Getting it? Because the marking is slightly ahead. It should be behind, but it is slightly ahead. This is the defect in what? Instrument. It's not your defect, it's the instrument's error. Okay. So that error is called as what? Instrumental error. One more example. Many times in weighing machine, you have seen a weighing machine in which you can weigh yourself. Okay, the flat weighing machine. Even if you are not standing, sometimes it is slightly ahead. It is not showing 0. It is showing what? 1 kg or 0.5 kg. So when you stand on it, automatically there will be an increase or decrease of 0.5 or 1 kg. That is what? Instrumental error. Right? One more example I will give you. The pointer of the voltmeter or ammeter, if it is not pivoted properly, then again it can lead to what? The errors in measuring what? The voltage or current. This is also instrumental error. Now let's talk about the error which arises due to imperfection in measuring technique. Suppose there is a test tube which is having certain liquid, right? And you are measuring the amount of liquid taken in this test tube. Suppose in an chemistry experiment, you have collected some liquid and you are measuring the volume. If this test tube is kept slightly inclined, the value which you will get will be different, and if it is exactly vertical, then the value you will get will be different. Okay. So there should be a correct technique of measuring the physical quantities, and if you are using a wrong technique, then it will give rise to what? Second type of errors. Okay. Third is personal error. Okay. Personal error, how it arises? Like this is a book, and over here I keep a measuring scale. Now if you keep your eyes exactly in front, okay, and measure the distance, okay, you will get perfect value. But if you keep the book like this and try to take the readings, understood, there will be parallax, and because of parallax you will get faulty readings. You will be getting what? Faulty readings. So to avoid parallax, the person should keep exactly the scale or any measuring instrument in front of his eyes. It should be what? Perpendicular. Your eyes should be exactly in front of it, then only you will get a accurate reading. That is what? Personal error. We can reduce personal errors and errors due to defective measuring technique and also instrumental. If by using good quality instruments we can reduce what? The instrumental errors. So all these errors can be reduced by certain procedures. Okay, these all come under what? Systematic error. But another type of errors I told you, random errors, which have many different reasons for reasons for coming in the experiments. Now random errors can be reduced. How? By taking a large number of readings. By taking a large number of readings, we can reduce what? Random errors. How? Suppose there is a wire, okay, whose diameter I have to find. I will make use of a screw gauge. In my last lecture I told you there is a screw gauge instrument which is used to measure the thickness of the wire. Now I will not take only one reading. I will take the diameter of the wire at different points. Okay, and then I will take average of it. What I will get is the accurate reading. I will not say precise, but I will get what? Accurate reading. Understood? Because I have not taken one reading, but I have taken a number of readings at different points, and then I have taken the mean of it, average of it. In this way, I can reduce the errors. One more example. You will come across one experiment called as pendulum. Simple pendulum. In simple pendulum, we give a slight push and the pendulum oscillates. In this experiment, we want to find the time period of oscillation. Means time to complete one oscillation. That we have to find. Okay. Now you have to take a stopwatch, push it, and when it completes one oscillation, you have to stop it. Now it is a very difficult thing. Understand? Because you can't immediately start the stopwatch when the pendulum completes one oscillation. To reduce the error, what we do? The pendulum is suspended, okay? By one hand you give a push, by the other hand you start the stopwatch and start counting the oscillations. Count 30 oscillations, and when the pendulum completes 30 oscillations, you stop the watch. The moment you stop the watch, what will happen? The time will be recorded for the 30 oscillations, and now you divide that time by 30, you will get the time interval for one oscillation. In this way, we can perfectly get the values. And as I told you, you take a large magnitude of values and then take its average, you will get the accurate value. In this way, random errors can be reduced. So today I explained you what is accuracy, what is precision, and what are the probable errors. Errors are the variations in the actual value and the recorded value. Okay, and errors are of two types: systematic errors and random errors. Systematic errors are of three types: instrumental error, error due to faulty technique of measurement, and third is personal error. And in random errors do not have any reason. There may be many factors which affect the experiments, and that's why there may be errors in recording the values. Okay, that's the difference between random errors and systematic errors. Okay, quick recap of errors. Okay, I explained you accuracy, precision, and probable errors in measurements. I told you there are two types of errors: systematic errors, which may be instrumental error, error due to imperfection in measuring technique, and third is personal error. And the second type of error is what? Random errors. Okay, which may be reduced, but we cannot remove random errors. Okay, we can reduce them, but these errors we can easily reduce or remove. Now further, we have to understand how errors are estimated. Just have a look here on the board. Understand this. Estimation of errors, how it is done. Okay, suppose I have taken four readings, n number of readings while measuring a quantity from A1, A2 up to AN. Okay, all these are very nearby values, like one is 2.31 centimeter, one is 2.32 centimeter, one is 2.30 centimeter, 2.31 centimeter. This is one example. Okay, Suppose these are the values, okay, 2.31, 2.30, 2.32, 2.33. These are the 5 values. So first thing, I want to find the error. How will I find the estimation of error? All these values are right. Then I will take the arithmetic mean, average of all these values. So A1 plus A2 up to AN divide by number of values. Okay. If I have taken 5 values, I will divide by 5. Okay. Now whatever value I get here now, this sign is called as summation. Addition is also called as summation. Summation from I equal to 1 to n of AI divided by n. This value is called as most probable value, A mean. I call it as what? A mean. Most probable value. I repeat, these values A1, A2 up to AN, I add and divide by number of values, I get the mean value. Okay, A mean. Also called as most probable value. Now what I do further? I find absolute error. Absolute error means what? Listen. I will find the difference between the mean value and each value, A1, A2 up to AN. So that difference will be a positive value. That's why I have written this in modulus sign. Modulus sign indicates the value will be taken as positive. Even if it comes negative, we will take the positive value. So delta A1 is A1 minus A mean, delta A2, A2 minus A mean, and finally delta AN is AN minus A mean. So I have found the difference between the mean value and each individual value. Understand this, okay? And I got delta A1, delta A2 up to delta AN. Now this is called as absolute error. Understand the words. This was the arithmetic mean, also called as most probable value. Now I have got absolute error of each reading. I will find average of this, and that will be called as mean absolute error. So delta A1 plus delta A2 up to delta N upon N. The same thing I have written here once again, but I have written delta A1 plus delta A2 up to delta N upon N. Okay, and this is not simply mean value, it is called as mean absolute error. Mean absolute error. Okay, and I can also write this as summation delta AI from I equal to 1 to N divided by N. Divided by what? N. So I got absolute, mean absolute error. Okay. Now the symbol for this is written as delta A mean. How we write the symbol? Delta A mean. Okay. This is a mean absolute error. Hope it is clear. Now we have to take a ratio. Ratio of what? The mean absolute error and the arithmetic mean value. Arithmetic mean value. So that ratio will be called as relative error. Delta A mean upon A mean. Okay. I already told you what is A mean. Mean value of all the quantities, and then this is what mean absolute error. When I take the ratio, I will get the relative error. But mostly relative error is measured in what? Percentage. Okay. And for getting percentage error, this term delta, this ratio should be multiplied by 100. So I write delta A mean upon A mean into 100%. So that will give you a percentage error. Okay. That will be giving you percentage error. Is this clear? Hope you understood it. Okay students, let us now move further and understand how in numericals we find the absolute error or percentage absolute error. Okay. Now this you understand that whenever you measure a value, there will be a slight error. So we show it in a manner like after taking suppose 5 readings, I will take the mean value. Okay, that is a probable value, most probable value. and second will be the absolute mean value. Okay, and that's why it will be written as a mean plus delta a mean. Okay, a mean and delta a mean. Now if you want to find percentage error in measurement, it can come during addition of two quantities or subtraction, or it may come in multiplication or division. Like take example, you are talking about area. Area is found by what? Length into breadth. Suppose in measuring the length, the error is L plus delta L, and in measuring breadth, the value which I am getting is B plus delta B. Okay, now when you take the area, it will be L into B. So L plus delta A into B plus delta B. Correct or not? Area is length into breadth. So in such case, what will be the percentage error? Okay, error in products, or error in division, or error during addition or subtraction, that we'll understand in detail. Okay, and also I will explain you with a numerical. Okay, the easiest way is to understand using a numerical. So let's see on the board. See on the board. It is combination of errors. Okay, I am finding errors in sum and difference. I want to find the absolute error. Absolute error means what? Delta A or delta Z. In this case, I will take as delta Z. Okay. Now understand this. The measured value is written in this way: A mean plus or minus delta A mean. Okay. And I told you what is this. Now, suppose there are two physical quantities which I have to add. Now, physical A, quantity A has got measured value A plus or minus delta A, and physical quantity B has got measured value. Measured value. Actual value is B, but what I am measuring is B plus or minus delta B. Now, delta B is the error. Okay, mean error. Now, if its sum is given by Z equal to A plus B, then the measured value will be written as Z plus delta Z equal to A plus or minus delta A plus B plus or minus delta B. On solving this further, okay, you will get this value plus minus delta Z equal to plus minus delta A plus minus delta B. Now what you understand over here, this is a combination of four different, this is the equation for four different combination. Means plus, like example I'll write plus delta A. One example I'm giving you, it may be plus delta A plus delta B, or it may be plus delta A minus delta B, or it may be minus delta A plus delta B, or minus delta A minus delta B. All these four combinations can be possible in this. Okay, so plus minus delta Z is the absolute error which I got, and whose value will be given by plus minus delta A plus minus delta B. This is the case in sum and difference, when you take the sum and difference. Okay, in sum, like take example, if you want to find the perimeter of a square, it will be 4 times L. In that case, every side will have a particular error, and the absolute error will be delta A plus minus delta A or plus minus delta B. Now let's talk about errors in product and division. And the best example I gave you just now was about area. Area is given by length into breadth, right? Suppose Z is a quantity which is given by A into B, which is having measured value of A as A plus minus delta A and B plus minus delta B. This is the measured value, okay? And these are the errors which I am getting. So when I write Z plus minus delta Z equal to A into B na, so A plus minus delta A, B plus minus delta B. Over here, I open the brackets and multiply, and then finally I take AB common, and in this case I will take Z common. When I take Z common, into bracket I get 1 plus minus delta Z upon Z, and when I take AB common, I will get 1 plus minus delta B by B. Okay. Actually, I am not taking common here. I am dividing. I am taking outside the bracket Z. Okay, and that's why here I am taking Z common, and here I am taking what? AB common, and what I get is 1 plus minus delta B by B plus minus delta A by A plus minus delta A upon A into delta B by B. Now delta A is a very small value. When you divide by A, it becomes further small, and delta B is also small. B, when you divide, this value further decreases, and the product of such small quantities can be easily neglected, and what we finally get is delta Z upon Z equal to delta A upon A plus delta B by B. This is a percentage error. Okay, percentage error is the ratio of what? Delta Z upon Z, delta A upon A. Correct na? So the same rule will also apply for division. This is a rule we apply for multiplication, A into B. The same rule will also apply for division. And now I will solve one example and make you understand. Okay, let's understand now. Errors due to power or index of a measured quantity. Okay. Now, suppose this is a quantity. Take example volume. Volume of a cube is L cube, right? So, suppose Z is given by A cube, which is A into A into A. Now, just now I had told you, when there is multiplication, then you want to find relative error. It will be the what? Addition of ratios of the delta A upon A. So in that case, look here, if you want to find delta Z upon Z, that is a relative error, you will get delta A by A, since there are three terms, A, I'll write delta A by A plus delta A by A plus delta A by A. In short, the relative error in Z equal to A cube is 3 times the relative error of A. It is 3 times the relative error of A. If only one particular quantity was there A, then we would get delta A upon A. But since it is A cube, I am getting 3 times delta A by A. Understanding? So this relative error in Z equal to A cube is 3 times relative error of A. Now I can write delta Z upon Z equal to n times delta A upon A, where n is the power. In this case it was 3. It may be 4, 5, any value it may be. We will put it over here and accordingly we will get the relative error. Now in this example which I have written here, suppose Z is A raised to P, B raised to Q and C raised to R. Okay, A and B are multiplication and we divide by C. Then the percentage or simply relative error will be written as P into delta A by A plus Q into delta B by B plus R into delta C by C. So this will be the percentage or simply relative error. Okay. Now we will take one example and understand how this works. Listen here. Suppose we want to find volume of a quantity and there are errors in measuring mass and density. Okay. The error in measuring mass is given here. M is 5 plus or minus 0.5 kg. So delta M is this and M is this. Density has got also error 5 plus or minus 0.2 kg per meter cube. So this is delta rho, this is delta M, this is M and this is rho. Okay. Now I want to calculate the percentage error in measurement of volume. We all know density is mass upon volume. So volume will be mass upon density or M upon rho. Just now what I explained you, the same formula will apply here. The percentage error in volume will be delta m upon m plus, since here multiplication is there, or even if division was there, I will use plus delta rho upon rho into 100. Now put the value of delta m as 0.15, okay, upon 5. This is 0.15. By mistake I wrote here 0.5, it is 15. Plus 0.2 upon 5, which gives you 0.03 plus 0.04 into 100, which is 0.07 into 100, that is 7%. So the percentage error in measuring volume is 7%. Okay, hope you understood this. Now one more numerical I am solving here, please. See, this is the 8th numerical which is there in your textbook. Okay, they have given the resistance, 4 values of resistance. It is R1 equal to 6.12 ohm, R2 equal to 6.09 ohm, R3 equal to 6.22 ohm, and R4 equal to 6.15 ohm. Okay, they are asking you to find absolute error. What you have to find? Absolute error you have to find. Then relative error, and finally percentage error. Okay, all these values you have to calculate. Now to start with, first of all we'll find what? The mean value. Okay, the mean value will be given by A. Suppose I'll write RM. RM will be 6.12 plus 6.09 plus 6.22 plus 6.15 upon 4. Okay. Now how much we'll get this? Now 12 plus 9 is 21. 21 plus 22. 21 plus 22 is 43. 43 plus 15 is 58. So 24.58 upon 4. Okay, 6.1, 4 4s are 16, 6.145. Okay, this is the value I will get. Now I will find delta A1, delta R1, delta R2, delta R3 and delta R4. Okay, this will be the subtraction of this. I will not put 5 here, I will simply put, okay, I will put here 5. See, first will be what? Subtraction. 6.145 minus 6.12, then 6.09 minus 6.145, then 6.22 minus 6.145, and lastly 6.15 minus 6.145. Okay, I will write here once again 6.12 minus 6.145. You have to simply find the difference. Okay, in each case you have to find the difference, and let's see what you get. Okay students, if you see here, I found the value of delta R1, delta R2, delta R3 and delta R4 by subtracting from the mean value. Okay, by finding the difference between the actual value and the mean value. And what I got in the first case, delta R1 I got 0.025, delta R2 as 0.055, delta R3 as 0.075 and delta R4 as 0.005. So after finding these values, I have to find the absolute error. How? by taking mean of all these values. By taking the mean of all these values, I will find what? Absolute error. This also I have solved on the board. Understand this. So delta R min will be delta R1 plus delta R2 plus delta R3 plus delta R4 upon 4, which gives what? 0.16 upon 4. So the absolute error will be 0.04 ohm. Okay. Now they are asking you to find relative error, and relative error is simply the ratio of absolute error upon the mean value. So delta R mean upon R mean. 0.04 upon R mean is what? 6.145, which we have already calculated. Divide this, and what we get is 0.0065. Now you'll ask me, sir, how to calculate this? How to divide this? This is done by using log tables, which I will explain you. Okay, there's a separate lecture I will take for what? Log tables. How to use log tables, that I will explain you. And we get this value 0.065. And last thing what is remaining is to find percentage error. Percentage error will be delta R upon R mean multiplied by 100, okay, into 100. And this will be written as 0.04 upon 6.145 into 100, which comes out to be 0.65%. Okay, this is the final answer. So I found all the three values: absolute error, relative error, and percentage error.